My name is Surupik Shah, and I would like you to welcome to this webinar on how to increase your influence via listening skills. Now, many times when people hear this, they're like, what? Because every time the society has told them, if you want to increase the influence, you have to be a good speaker, you have to be a good writer, or you have to be a good reader to a certain extent also, but very rarely someone talks about importance of learning, and that is why this makes it a very important skill set to learn, because many are ignoring it, and that can give you the competitive edge. So that is why I'm so proud of you that you have clicked on this video and you are enjoying with me. And if you're watching it live on the webinar, wow, that's so great. So happy to see you. Type hi in the comment section or in the WhatsApp group where we are, and just let me know that you are joining with me. Type hi. I would love to see your replies. Now, let's begin with the session. Now, how this session is structured, let me give you the gist of it. First, we are going to see, okay, why listening is important in the first place. Second, the definition of listening, or what true listening actually means. Third, what we are going to focus is prerequisite for listening nicely. Yes, how you should get ready yourself so that throughout the day you can listen to someone nicely. And then listening in professional life, I told you, you need to create an influence. So influence does not happen just in personal but also in professional life. And finally, a bonus for you guys, I will also tell you listening while texting. When people are like, hey, that's reading, right? No, listening while texting. And I am not saying that you're texting and listening to someone else. I'm saying you're typing or you're chatting with that person and you're listening to that person, not just reading. You're trying to get in, just trying to understand more. So that's a bonus that you'll also learn, is how to listen while texting. So that's it. Let's dive deep into it, and I'm so happy that you're out here. This video, if someone is seeing it after a long time, this video is shot during corona lockdown days, and there's a lot of fear going on and everyone is just wants to get away. But for me, the best way to get away from something is by learning a new skill, and that is why I'm so happy that you're not on Netflix or you're binge watching any TV series. You are actually here and trying to improve yourself. So let's quickly get into it. Why listening is important? Out of all the time we spend in communication, maximum amount of it goes while listening. Now, communication types include talking, typing or writing, then reading, and finally listening. And out of that, 45% of time, out of all our communication time, goes in listening. So isn't that a skill which you need to improve? Yes, we should do it, and that's why I'm so happy to see you out here. So that's the reason I say, if you're spending maximum amount of time for communication out there, that is the area where you can influence someone maximum. So that's the beauty of listening. Like, you literally have to just sit and listen, and that is how you can influence, build a better bond to someone. That's the awesome. I'm so excited for you to give you the tools and mindsets for it. So, and if you also want to see the, I don't know, more creative way of looking to it, if you combine the shape of our ears, it somewhat looks like heart. That's one more creative reason of looking for it. So I'm so pumped up that while listening you can actually reach to someone hard, actually make them understand. So that's why I say listening is important, and if you're with me, I'm sure you also believe in that. So type in the comment section or in the WhatsApp group that listening is important, and via good listening skills you can influence anyone you want. So that's it. Now let's get on to the definition part of it. Now, I will give you a definition. I want you to be focused at each and every word. Am I clear? You have to be focused at each and every word. So listening, okay, is an active process of responding to spoken and unspoken messages. I'm sure you have notepad with you. Please write it down. Listening is an active process of responding to spoken and unspoken messages. Here are three words where I want you to focus maximum. First, it's an active process. Yes, it's an active process. Next, it's response. It's not reactions, it's response. And finally, it's not just for spoken, also for unspoken messages. So that is the important part of listening, which many people don't get. Listening is an active process. It's an active. People feel like if you want to listen, that means you did not do the work. You are just, if you read, you're doing some work. If you're talking, you're doing some work. If you're writing, you're doing some work. But if you're listening, then you're not doing any work. That's completely wrong. An active listener will also feel tired by the end of the conversation. So it's an active process where you have to be alert. And next comes the response. Okay, you have to be responsive. You should not be reactive. So for example, many times people are just thinking about what should be my next reply, and that is where majority of people just listen with an intent to reply and not listen for the sake of listening. And that is why it has to be responsive. You should first understand the entire perspective and then think what your reply should be. So that is what I talk about. It should be a responsive process. And finally, it's also about listening to unspoken messages. Yeah, unspoken also. Now, how the unspoken message comes into a picture? Via following three ways. First, it's usually the context. You also need to understand what the other person is going through and what is happening with that person, what is the current scenario. So this video, if you see our other videos, they might be professionally shot, and if you see this video without any context, you will feel like, hey, I don't know why the quality has gone down, the video or audio quality has gone down. But the moment you realize it has been shot during a lockdown time where I don't have access to my team who can edit it, wow, you will feel like, okay, so that is why. Talk actual has the context to it. So if you listen to someone without a context, you will have an entirely different meaning. That's one. Second, it's usually comes with voice modulation, how the person is feeling. Is the person sounding too happy or sounding too low? Sometimes the person can mean that he's too happy, but his voice might be a little bit different, not matching to it, and somewhere you can feel that difference. And finally is the body language. That person has a very different body language than what idea he's communicating, or has a very in sync body language with what the idea is communicating. In that way, you can know how intense the person is feeling what he's trying to communicate. So remember, just write it down. Listening is an active process of responding to spoken and unspoken messages. Now, many people have this question in mind that they should remember this, I don't know, important jargon. It's like too much. No, it's not too much. Let me give you one more simple definition of it. Now, before I give you the definition of listening, I would like to ask you one question. Okay, the question will also come as a pop-up above, and if it does not come, I'll just put it on the screen. So the question is, as a listener, what should you have for the speaker? Like, which quality you should have while you're listening to someone? One, you should have sympathy. Next, you should have empathy. Or C, you should just listen without any emotions. Okay, you have the three options. You should have sympathy for the speaker, or you should have empathy for the speaker, or you should listen without any emotions. Let me know your answer. What is it? Type in the comment section or type in the WhatsApp group where we are active. Just keep on typing. Now, reason I'm asking you to type is not just because I just want more comment and more engagement. I would definitely love that. But here, there's an important learning principle. If you engage, you learn better. So that is why engage with me. Every time I ask you to type, type. Every time I ask you to write, write. Okay, pause the video and do that. So here, just let me know your answer in the comment section. Is it A, B, or C? Should we have sympathy? Should we have empathy? Or should we listen without any emotions? Now, the right answer is you should have empathy. Now, sympathy is actually just feeling sorry, and that's not what you should be doing, because you will then always feel that you're one step ahead than the speaker and you'll never get in sync with that person. Coming to the empathy part, that is the most important quality I feel, because you feel you are at the same level and you can literally go through what the other person is going through. And many people argue with me. No, you should actually listen without any emotion. Now the problem with this is because if you don't have the emotion, you usually miss out the context of it. You actually don't realize how bad the person is going through or how sad the person is, and that is why he's trying to say some mean words to you or the mean words to anyone. And that is why I feel that empathy is the right way. You should actually be in sync with the listeners, with the talker's feeling. And that is my definition of listening. A simple definition of listening is, by the end of conversation, you both should have the same feeling. Yes, by the end of conversation, you both should have the same feeling. Now when people argue with me, hey, what if the other person is sad, should I also become sad? If the other person is angry, should I also become angry? See, again, I'm repeating, you should have the same emotion at the time you're listening and trying to understand. But after that, your response to it should be different. You should not behave like that person who is angry or depressed. Okay, so at the time when you're listening, feel it entirely, and then your response should be different. And if you're able to do that, that is how you will realize that you're listening to them nicely. So please don't feel listening is a very passive process where you have to just sit and listen. No, listening is a very active process. Now let's move on to the next concept. Now here what we are going to discuss more about is what you should do before you listen to someone, or I would say the prerequisite of listening. Now many people have this challenge that they have the whole intention to listen to someone, but they don't know why they can't just focus. They are not able to do it. And that is where this prerequisite for listening comes into picture. So no matter how great belief you have that listening is important, or the action steps you have on how to listen to someone nicely, you can't listen to someone nicely if you don't do this prerequisite. So the first prerequisite for listening someone nicely is, are you listening to yourself? Yes, do you listen to yourself? Now that is a question which you always need to reflect on, because every time there is a gut feeling which tells you, hey, why don't you do this today, why don't you call this person today, why don't you take a different route, or why are you going to the same job even if you don't like it. So every time you skip over that inner voice, is basically, if you're not listening to yourself, you can't listen to others. Yeah, write it down. If you can't listen to yourself, or if you're not listening to yourself, you'll never be able to listen to others. Yes, and that is why many people can't listen to others, because they usually have a habit of taking their inner voice for granted or taking themselves granted. So if you see, the inner voice is usually in two ways. One, it's a positive feeling. Now definitely you should have a logical constraint to it. You cannot be, if your inner voice says leave everything and quit, you can't do it. But definitely the other part, if says, okay, why don't you eat healthy, or some kind of logical step, it is saying in a positive way, please follow it. Now what about the negative inner voice? Rupak, should we listen to that also? Then we'll become depressed, then we'll become sad. No, you should not listen to it, but you should first entertain it. Yes, listening is also about entertaining a thought without accepting it. Every time someone is listening, that does not mean the other person is always agreeing with you. Sometimes the other person just wants to understand that perspective and then try to present his or her perspective. So again, this is the golden line what I have shared. Listening is also about understanding someone's thought without accepting it. Just because you understand someone, that does not mean you always agree with them. So now when it comes to negative inner voice, what I always want you to do is just question it. Okay, just question before blindly accepting it. So let's say, for example, if your boss says, hey, why don't you present the company report, and you are like, no, I am not good at public speaking. And if I analyze that, you will realize, okay, you are not good at it because you failed miserably in your college days, and it's been what, 7-8 years since then, and you're still stuck at it. So it's time you should question your inner voice and see, is it, even if it has a logical base, and if it does not have a logical reasoning to it, please don't listen to it. please understand it and say, now I'm going to change it. Now I'm going to learn about public speaking and I'm going to present that report so that I become more successful in life. So yes, that's the first step I always want you to do, is listen to yourself on a deeper level. Now, next is listening to yourself on a superficial level. So, for example, if there are a lot of thoughts that are going on in your mind, I need to call this, I want to do this, I want to record this session, I want to do XYZ, I want to watch this TV series, I want to call this person. If there's so much already going on in your mind, you can't listen to someone nicely. So what is the most important thing out here is you jot down your thoughts on a piece of paper. Yes, that's the simple way. Just jot it down. I'm not asking you to make any to-do list. I don't even want you to, I don't know, segregate it into important, very important. If you do that, it would be great. But even if you don't do that, that's completely fine. Just put it on a piece of paper. The moment you do that, your brain knows that these thoughts are already out there and they're not going anywhere. So once your brain knows, hey bro, just relax, these thoughts are already here, those are not going anywhere right now, for next 5-10 minutes let me listen to this person. So this is an important step. Don't skip this. So even if you have watched till now, I'm sure there are a lot of thoughts that are coming in your mind. Hey, I need to do this after this video, I have to work on this, etc, etc. I want you to pause this video and type whatever the thoughts that are going in your mind. Type or write it down. If you can share with me, great, put that in the comment section. If you can't, just write it on your piece of paper. Please do it. If you skip this step, trust me, your concentration will be less as compared to after you do this activity. And if your concentration is less, even if you spend next half an hour or hour with me, you won't be able to listen to me nicely. So these are the two prerequisites for listening. First, listen to yourself on a deeper level, gut level, and second, listen to your thoughts or put them on a piece of paper so that you can focus on the other person. So I'm sure you're getting a lot of value. If yes, put that in the comment section. I would love to see on in the WhatsApp group. Just put. I'm telling you, communicating your learning is also one of the best way to speed up the learning curve. If you engage, boom, you're learning better than other person who is not engaging. Now before we go ahead, I have an important question to you. It will pop up out there. I'll put it on the screen. I want you to answer it and literally think and answer it. Don't just randomly pick A, B or C. So the question is, a good listener is dash to our experiences. A good listener is dash to our experiences. A, witness. B, judge. C, ignorant. Again, I'm repeating, a good listener is either witness to our experience or judge to our experience or ignorant about our experience. So let me know the answer. Is it A, B or C? Are you a witness? Are you a judge? Or are you ignoring? Sure, if you're listening till here, I know you'll not select C. I hope you'll not select C. You're not ignoring. Second comes with witness or judging, and definitely the answer is witnessing. Yes, you have definitely reflect on it and you have to come to some conclusion. But the most important thing is, first you have to just be there as a witness. You need to understand before you come to any conclusion. So the answer is definitely A, and whoever have answered A, congratulations. I'm sure you're on the right path. Now, let's go to the most beautiful part, which a lot of professionals love. When I give them these tips, they're like, whoa, the simple things can make listening skills better. And that's the beauty of listening skills. What you need is more of a mindset, and even its action steps are quite simple to do it. You don't need some 20 days practice, 30 days practice, or learn any particular new skill set for it. It's just being patient and just following few simple guidelines to transform your listening curve. Now let's go with the 5 steps that will help you to listen nicely in professional life. Step number 1, always stipulate the time limit. Now many people have this thing is they know that we are going to meet at 4, but no one talks about the end meeting time. So for example, is it 4 to 5, 4 to 5:30, and even if it is there, many times it's just a formality, just because I don't know, Google Calendar has that option of half an hour or 15 minutes, whatever it is. But I want you to be very clear with every person you meet in your professional life, saying, bro, don't say bro, you can say colleague or whatever it is, we are meeting to 4 to 5 p.m. Yes, we are meeting 4 to 5 p.m. and that's it. In that slot, we have to finish everything what we have to discuss. Now, what this does it helps you to focus more time on important things. Usually, listening, and especially in professional life, is difficult because there are a lot of things going on in your mind. And if the other person starts spending too much time on things that is not important to you, it becomes very difficult for you to concentrate. So, please always make sure the time limit is fixed 4 to 5, 5 to 6. And again, many of you will be like, oh, you're telling us something which we didn't know. Yes, I'm not telling you this about stipulating the time limit, be start and end time. I'm sure you're not listening for the first time, but my question to you is how many of you are following it on regular basis? And sadly, very few of us do. And that is why consider this as even as a reminder to have a start and end time. Now, the next thing is always, always, always ask for the agenda. Now, what this does, it agenda always gives you a gist about what you're going to listen. Now, moment you have an agenda, you have a very clear picture. Okay, now this is what I'm going to do it. And if something requires more research to be done beforehand, you get time to that also. Now, this is a double-edged sword. Sometimes people read the agenda and have their own judgments. So I'm not asking you to judge anyone. I'm just asking you to just be a witness, consume the information a little bit, have an entire view. If you saw a webinar on how to be a better reader, there was a one tip which I shared out there. And the tip is you should always have the entire view first, details later. When you have the entire view, it becomes very easy to understand things. And that is why having an agenda, you know, okay, we are going to focus time here, 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 and here. And the agenda should be little bit detailed one. It cannot be like, hey, we are going to meet to discuss about social media. Now, what in that? Are we discussing to change the strategy, or are we discussing to just increase the number of posts, or are we just sharing the analytics and trying to understand it? Please always have a clear agenda. Again, many will be like, thank you so much, we did not know that. Yes, I am sure you already know that, but how are you following it? Because a structured environment gives you a lot of time to listen, because you already know, okay, these are the point where I need to focus. You can manage your energy out there. Now, once you're done that, the third, many times people see a lot of, especially people who do back-to-back meetings, don't have buffered time. One person goes, one person comes, one person goes, one person goes. And the challenge out here is because you know 11 to 12 is my time and 12 to 1 is someone else. The problem becomes is around 11:50ish, you are like, when will this person stop speaking? When? And that is why last 10 minutes you usually skip the important points, or you are just not focused, you're thinking of the next meeting. And that is the important problem, or the major problems many of us have, is we don't keep a buffer time. I would prefer a buffer time of at least 10 minutes between two meetings, and that gives you time to relax and just calm your nerves down. Even if meeting exceeds by 5-7 minutes, you have a couple of minutes to chill and relax. Now, the next is one more important point is you need to interject. Now, what is interjecting? It's basically speaking in between. It's not exactly speaking in between someone, but actually you need to put your thoughts, your suggestions exactly at the point where other person is done, not before or after that. So now this is a trick challenge. What many people always face is when you should interject. Now I will always share that before interjecting, do just 2 steps, and if you do it, you know that's the right time to put forth your thoughts. First, ask them, do they want to share anything more? So for example, if someone comes to me and they share the social media strategy with me, and they say 1, 2, 3, 4 ways of doing it, and I have a couple of more suggestions to it, and what happens is I start sharing them, and the other person is like, yes, it was also there, sorry I skipped saying it. So to avoid that, ask the question, do you want to share anything more? People feel this is a silly question, but trust me, every time I have asked that question, people have shared a couple of things which they forgot. Yes, so ask them, do you want to share anything more? And just patiently give them a couple of seconds to think on it. If not, okay, and before you start sharing your thoughts, I want you to summarize what they have told. Usually what happens is we start sharing the thoughts and the other person is like, hey, I meant the same thing, I just said it differently, I just said it this way, that way, etc., etc., and a lot of time goes on agreeing. Yeah, you should agree. An agreement should be, yes, I go with, I like this way or I don't like this way, but it should not be like trying to use two different contexts to agree on the same point. That's just a time waste. So that is why once you summarize, hey, this is what I understood, we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 means doing it on Facebook mode, 2 means doing on Twitter mode, 3rd going on TikTok mode, 4th going on YouTube mode. Whatever it is, once you summarize it, the other person knows, okay, this is what the other person has understood, and we are completely in sync. And this what also does is prepares other person to listen to your thoughts, because that person knows that he has been heard, he has been listened by you. And that is the beauty of listening. You can not just make someone listen to the idea maximum, you will not just get the complete information, you will also make the other person feel very important. Now once you have summarized, once you have asked them, do they want to share something more, only after that put your thoughts. Even if the person says, hey, what do you think about it, and then I'm like, I will share, just let me know, do you want to share something else? And that's the important part which people skip it. Now the fifth point can be the most important point to someone or least important point to someone based on how much are you following it. The fifth point is have a positive body language. Now what do you mean by positive body language while listening? It's very simple. First, no crosses. No crosses. Now many people will be like, hey, what if I'm feeling cold? Okay, if you're feeling cold, that's a different ball game. But please, 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 no cross, no cross. And lean little bit forward. Don't be like, share, what do you think? Don't be like too bossy. And sometimes if you want the other person to share their thoughts, this is where it's the beauty part of it is, while when you want to give other person space. So for example, if I ask someone, do you have to share anything more? See my body language out here. Do you want to share anything more? So the moment I go back, that's the aha moment. Many people might not observe it. Observe it. Do you want to share anything more? And then I will go a little bit back. What this does is mentally or subconsciously, it gives the person the feeling that I have time, the other person is relaxed, ready to listen to me, and also ready to wait if I want to take more time. Rather than, do you want to say more? Do you want to say more? Don't come ahead at that time. Usually I would prefer you lean a little bit forward, but especially when you ask some reflective question to the person, lean a little bit backward. So the fifth point is have positive body language. So these are the 5 ways. Okay, what are the 5 ways? Let's quickly summarize. First, time limit. Second, ask agenda. Third, have buffer. Fourth, interject suitably. And fifth, have a positive body language. So I'm sure this mindset shifts have added a lot of value to you. I hope you're noting it down. Please let me know in the comment section that you're enjoying this, you are too excited, that you're going to follow the steps and be a better listener. Now let's come to the most important part, or the most unique part of it. Again, before that, I have a question for you. If someone says, I hate staff meetings, what will be your reply? You should participate more. It's part of your job. You don't have an option. Or, that's bad. What are your meetings like? Now, again, I am repeating the 3 options. First, you should participate. It's part of your job. You don't have option. Third, that's bad. What are your meetings like? So what is your answer? Is A, B, or C? Now a lot of people will definitely, it's not B. I'm sure you're still here with me. The confusion occurs is whether it is giving advice, yes, you should participate more, or 3, it's bad, what do you feel about it? Now the correct answer is C out here, because I'm always trying to tell you of the same feeling. Don't assume just because person is done sharing, it means the person has shared everything. No, for that moment the person has done. And if you ask them good questions, reflective questions, the person will share more, and that will give you more insight. So that is why, please, whenever someone says I hate this, I don't like this, don't try to, I don't know, agree with it, or don't try to agree and try to multiply it, or don't try to give some advice. Just sit back and ask, why don't you like this? What is really bothering you? And this kind of question might feel like some therapist or psychologist type of question, but trust me, these are a very powerful reflective question. You just use their words and ask them more on it, and trust me, person can say I hate staff meeting and it's just 30 seconds talk, or if you ask them why, that talk can go on 15-20 minutes, and you'll get so much insight about that person that influencing that person will become very easy. Now, I'm sure you have answered all the questions, right? Even if not, just try to be with me, try to understand, because we come to the most unique part of this session, and which I love the most, is how to listen while texting. Yes. Again, that does not mean you should ignore. It's not with two different people. It's chatting with the same person, and how you should do that. First, a lot of times what happens is someone says hey, we just reply hey back directly, and usually person if person is texting you hey, there's a very high chance the person you're texting hey because the person wants to chat or share something, and if you're free, that's completely fine. But a lot of times we are in between of some work, and the person might share I have a really bad day, and because you're busy with some other work, you reply 15 minutes back, and the person has lost the interest to share with you. So anytime you're replying to a text, it can be like, and if you're busy, I would say that if, for example, if someone texts me, hey, I would say, hey, watching a movie, WhatsApp, or hey, I'm in middle of some work, WhatsApp. So the other person gets a little bit context that he or she is not completely free, and the person is mentally ready. So always stipulate your condition. For normal chats, that will not matter if you reply 15-20 minutes late, but if person wants to share something important, it is going to matter. And why this part is out here, listening while texting, because I've seen a lot of people are comfortable opening their heart out on a chat as compared to in person. So that is why I believe this skill set is an important for you to have. So first, stipulate your condition. Next, don't type when other person is typing. WhatsApp shows you the other person is typing. A lot of chat platforms shows the other person is typing. Please don't type when other person is typing. Now this is an important thing, because moment I see other person is typing, either I will speed up my typing speed, in that way you're not giving me enough space, or I will stop typing. So if, for example, hey, and you see other person is typing, you just don't go like, hey, how was your day? Because other person might have to share something else, and the person will end up communicating or replying on that. And that brings us to the third learning, or the third way, is just chat on one topic at a time. There is a reason WhatsApp has this feature where you can select a particular chat text and reply to it, because it saw that human tendency is so much to talk on different topics. Now it might be good for app because it makes us more comfortable, but in reality it's very difficult to focus on two different conversation. So it can be like, hey, how was your day? And the other person wants to share, hey, I got a new car, and the chat goes on in a different way, because one is about the new car and second is you are asking about his or her day. So please don't stop the other chat. So if you see other person typing something and he's typing, hey, I had a bad day, just keep it restricted out there. Don't ask them, oh, what happened to your mom, or is she well? Or don't try to judge, or don't try to predict why the person is sad. Give them space for the person to type. So that's the third important learning. Just chat on one topic at a time. Now again, the fourth is stipulate your condition. It is basically ask before replying or ask before giving suggestions. Now, here is the beauty part of it. When it comes to, at least in person communication, you at least know the other person has done or other person is almost done. But while chat, you don't know. You can't see the body language, you can't see the voice you can't listen to the voice modulation, you can't feel that person's energy. So it becomes very difficult to know, is the person actually done sharing everything else, or the person wants to share something or trying to hide it because person is not that comfortable. So please always ask, hey, are you done? Would you like to have my suggestions, or would you like to listen to my thoughts on it? Please, please, please ask before you type, or before you type your reply. Now, final thing is, here it's kind of Sherlock Holmes tip, but don't share that with the other person. Also analyze how the other person is typing, and if you are typing with the person for a quite a number of times, you know there is a pattern, there is a set of smileys the other person use, there is a way the person types hey with single y or double y, there is a way the stat is structured. Does it have full stop or does not have full stop? Does the person have a habit of sending you long text or short text? Whatever it is, try to analyze a pattern, and the moment the pattern is shifting, if the person has a tendency of giving you, I don't know, 2-3 words reply, and it's suddenly coming to one word, the person is angry, sad, something is missing. So don't text him saying, hey, usually you send me hey with 3 y's, today you send me just 1 y, is something bothering you? Don't do that. It sounds as creepy or whatever it is. Just analyze the pattern. Is the person typing the same way usually a person does, or it's quite different? If it's quite different, you need to dig deeper, you need to ask that person. So these are the 5 steps. First, stipulate your condition. Second, don't type when the other person is typing. Third, chat with on one topic at a time. Next, ask before replying. And finally, analyze how it is typed. Now, I've shared a lot. I shared the listening definition, how you can listen in professional life, how you listen with typing. And if you see the beauty of listening, it's not like 21-day practice, it's just being conscious. And you can be a better listener by the end you're done with this webinar also. So yeah, that's the whole gist of listening. Please, please, please don't take it for granted. Again, it's the most important skill, and if you need to work more on it, which I would highly recommend, then go to my e-course on how to listen effectively so that you can be more influential. And trust me, I have seen, I don't know, thousands of times the power of listening in my life. A lot of time people come to me and they just talk and I just listen, and they go back and talk about me to 10 different person. Hey, Rupa is such an awesome guy, he's a trainer, etc, etc. But in reality, I did not talk nothing. I was just listening. By listening, they feel they are being made important, and actually I do it. It's not faking. I definitely value to whoever I am listening. So that's the power of listening. Without opening your mouth, you can build a great bond and influence over the other person. So I would definitely recommend you to go to my e-course, because there is almost 2 hours of content out there. And if you enjoyed this 45 minutes, whatever it is, I'm sure you'll benefit from it a lot. So link will be in the description, or if you're in a WhatsApp group with me, please ping me, and I'm sure you will benefit from that e-course also. So that's it from this listening seminar, whatever it is. I'm sure I gave you a different mindset, or I just gave you the importance of listening, and trust me, deep down you already know how listening is important. So thank you so much for watching, and please like and comment. Trust me, I'm sure you are doing a great job in this lockdown days trying to learn a new skill, and I'm so proud of you. So thank you so much. Take care and bye bye.